Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another Alkebulan Awakening series in conjunction with Kumbukeni. My name, as always, is Ola Deledosimo. I'm the co-founder of Emerging Alkebulan, and what we're about is decolonizing our minds and raising our consciousness. For those people who are coconuts, this is for you. Unduku.
You start off by calling out the coconuts. What a great beginning. Today is the week of anti-coconut. Anyway, the name is Nduku. I am the host on Kumbukeni. Karibuni, asanteni kwa kuwa nasi. Looking forward to speaking to Dr. Njemanze. Looking forward to all the information he has to share and the wisdom. Welcome. Karibuni.
Thank you for having me. My name's Dr. Philip Njemanze. I'm talking to you from Owerri, Imo State, Nigeria, in southeast Nigeria. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go with the topic, my professor. We're talking about genetically modified organisms, the Trojan for Africa, pros and cons. So Professor Njemanze is going to tell us basically what GMOs are doing to Africa. Prof, I'm going to let you flow with the topic, and then we'll let you finish your submission, and then we'll come back to you when you're done.
Thank you very much for having me. But I'll begin to let you know what the background of this is, how you can actually understand what role GMOs are. Now, in 2005, the G7 countries in Scottsdale, all the billionaires, the big billionaires in the West, are headed by Bill Gates. The idea was, how do we confront the growing emergence of South Asia and China in electronics and all tech advancement? So they decided that really there was no way they could confront the East, but had to invent a new industry. That is called the human industry. Human industry, you hear about it, is called cloning of organs. Now, it's also to understand what this technology is all about. Explain it. Going forward, people who have health challenges will be faced with replacement. For example, if you have, instead of being placed on drugs, we just give you a new heart. When you get the heart, you now operate with application. How will that work? In my laboratory here, if I get a heart patient, I could, with echocardiography, take a small needle and directly puncture through the ribs into the heart and a few cells. These few cells, I can put it in a culture media, and send it to the US. These biotech companies involved in cloning, 90% of them are owned by Bill Gates. The rest are owned by billionaires in the Bill Gates Foundation. Now, what the idea is, when they get these few cells, they get an ovarian egg from a woman. You know, a woman has ovarian eggs, the men have the sperm. So when you fuse them, you get a fertilization and get an embryo. But in this case now, what is done is that when you take an egg, just to remove the nucleus. When you remove that nucleus, you now take that cell that I took from my lab, take the nucleus of that, implant it in this ovarian egg. Material in this egg now coming from my patient's heart. So if it is put in a tissue culture, and this tissue culture will now make it grow into a whole heart, identical with that of my patient. This heart is sent back to me, and then I will arrange and implant it into the patient. And the patient doesn't have to take any other drug for heart because he has a new heart. And his body cannot reject that heart. Now, the problem is, how are you going to get the eggs? Because the people sit in the lab somewhere in Washington, Seattle, Washington, or somewhere else, just to implant that nucleus from my patient, wasted 1,000 to 2,000 eggs. So just to make this work, you will need 100 million eggs. So where will you take 100 million eggs? It will come from at least 10 women. You have to harvest their eggs. So they now say, where do we get these eggs? Wow, there is a country called Nigeria with a very large population. The government is very corrupt. So what we are going to do, we change their seeds from the natural seeds to the genetically modified seeds. Now, what is the difference? In the genetically modified seeds, the gene for replication is switched off. So there is what is called a terminator gene. So it cannot replicate itself. They recorded people who are farmers, real farmers, in Nigeria are about 40 million with 80% of them involved in tubers are all in the northeast of Nigeria and part of North Central. Now, there are others in the southwest and the northwest, but the bulk of them are within these two regions. Now, they came up with the idea. What we need to do, okay, I hear there's an interference. Let me see whether. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Carry on talking.
Okay. All right. Let me see whether is the interference gone now.
I want to say, Oladele, if we can be patient for a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, as you and I discuss just what we've heard from Dr. Njemanze, he can sign out and sign back in.
Do you want to do that, Prof?
I think I had two systems working, my cell phone and the desktop. So
okay,
the interference is coming from two of them.
Okay,
No,
can you turn one of them off completely?
The phone off.
Yes, I want to
turn the phone
my
off.
phone might be, it's the best thing to turn off.
Yeah, please.
And then the audience is requesting that you get closer to the microphone. And everyone just bear with us. These are the struggles as we expand our community and reach out beyond the borders.
Okay, can you hear me now?
That we are all confined to. Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can. Okay, carry on. Yeah, we're good.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay, good.
We can hear you, Prof.
So,
yeah, carry on.
Okay. So, as I was saying, what now happened was that they now said, okay, let us take this group. There was this small group of people who virtually a family of people who call themselves Boko Haram. So,
yeah, Oladele. Hold on, Dr. Njemanze.
So what?
Yeah, just sign out and sign back in. I think let's be patient and look at me losing my patience.
Is it okay? I should sign out.
Sign out and come back in.
Should I sign out?
Yes, because it doesn't serve the public.
Okay,
like
good.
We're not serving the audience if they cannot hear you. Yes, please. All right, Oladele. So,
okay,
what are your thoughts on just what you heard? People in the chat, what are your thoughts on just what you heard? So 2005, there's a meeting of the G7 countries with Western billionaires at Scottsdale. And they talk about cloning, but they face a challenge. In order to clone, they're going to need multiple people, multiple women to get the eggs from. And that's a challenge. And they decide now we are at GMO for them to manipulate the seeds. I am like holding my breath to find out what Dr. Njemanze is going to say they're going to put in the seeds. Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Njemanze.
We can hear you.
Wow. Okay, so you can hear me now. Okay, good. At least I can see. Okay, so what they did was they said, okay, we will take over these seeds. They planned seed councils to set up seed councils across Africa, as if it was something agreed at the level of AU. They now said, we will also create the biosafety agencies and appoint our own people there who will vet the seeds. So those people will be there and they will vet the seeds, just okay the GMO seeds and take out the natural seeds all across Africa. And they set up these organizations. They set up a promoter arm of these organizations and then the implementation arm of these organizations and appointed the officials. So the biosafety agency in almost every African country is basically appointees of Monsanto, Bills, and Bayer. But the idea is this: if they were to vet, the Gates now brought 2 billion naira, appointed on, told President Nathan, take my boy Akinwumi Adesina to be Minister of Agriculture. He was from Agra, one of the subsidiaries of the Gates conglomerate. He now brought him, he was a director there, he made him minister, and he was to execute this program. He now told Nigeria, I'm going to give you 2 billion naira to give to these natural seed growers. But before you give them these seeds, you have to distribute 14 million cell phones. These 14 million cell phones were called electronic wallets. So they were given free to all these 14 million farmers. The idea is, when you are a seed grower and somebody comes to buy seeds from you, you don't need to collect money from that person. The person will give you their own code. And then when you enter that code, no matter how much that money is, it will be transferred to your cell phone. So people agreed because it was a good deal for them. They'll get money. So what they had done was that all these people, they mapped. They were using the GPS on these cell phones to track the position of these natural seed growers, unknown to them. So the GPS coordinate and NFC technology on the cell phone provided them the exact location of these farmers. So what they did, they equipped a mercenary group. Their trainers was a man called Prince, the man who was running Blackwater. Blackwater was the U.S. Department contractor in Iraq. Now, what they used to do in order to prolong their contract was to Iraqi opposing religious groups against each other. They will go to the Shiite community, they will plant a bomb. They will tell them that the Sunnis did that. And then they will go to Sunni community, plant the bomb, and then the two communities will be fighting, and the U.S. Department of Defense will prolong their contract because they were providing security for the Americans. But the Iraqi intelligence service found out that this was going. So they put a lot of pressure for the expulsion of the U.S. Army from and Blackwater from Iraq. Blackwater now found a new job in Burkina Faso, where they took most of those mercenaries they got into the bush and started training them. So the way they trained these people, Zambezi Forest, you must be hearing a lot of that. They made a lot of military bases where they were training these people and then having them infiltrate into Nigeria. These were not Muslims. These were just mercenaries, whether most of them with belief system. So they entered into Nigeria and used the coordinates of those natural seed growers to go after them one by one, target them and get in their farms. Now let me give you the statistics compiled by the U.S. Council on Foreign Relations. Between 2013 and 20, I think that's 3 years or so. Between 2013 and 2017, 20 years, 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 2018 or so. 37,500 people were recorded. 32,000 of these people were Muslims. 85% were Muslims. 15% were Christians. But one thing in common between the Muslims and the Christians is that they were all seed growers. So it had nothing to do with any religion. What they were doing was to eliminate the seed growers. Now, what comes next is what we call food for egg program. And that's where we're going. This food for egg program says, look, we will give you seeds, that's the GMO seeds. They drove all the farmers, all the other farmers who they didn't kill, into the IDP camps. They came as international organizations, one NGO after the other, to these places and brought in improved seeds, which was just what they were calling the GMO seeds. That's the euphemism for GMO. Improved seeds. So when they go there, they distributed all these improved seeds. And once they noticed that they have wiped out the natural seed growers in any area, they stopped their military operations and allowed the IDP to go back to their villages and plant the GMO. Immediately they planted in the first season, they captured the food security of Nigeria there. And this is what they are doing, one place after the other. Now, their main strategy is when we have at least from 14 million to 20 million Nigerians needing these seeds to eat. So each time they come for planting season, we will raise the seed cost so high, maybe 50 per sachet, and you need almost 500 sachets or 1,000 to fill your field. The farmers will say, I don't have money to buy these seeds. So if you don't have money to buy these seeds, and donate your egg. Tell your wife, your daughters to go and donate their eggs. If they donate the eggs, we will give you these seeds at no cost. They reckon that doing this, they will 100 million eggs every time they need it. This is the strategy. This is what is Boko Haram. Because it has nothing to do with any religion. Now, people will say, oh no, what a Fulani has. Wow. Let us take Zamfara State. One of the states plagued with violence. In Zamfara State, the 60% of the victims were Hausa, 40% were Fulani. Exactly reflecting the population of Zamfara State. So Fulani, what Fulani does, they will go and kill Fulani. It makes no sense. So it is not true. It is the same biggest mercenaries. So when we were studying this also, so when we saw this, we decided to bring it forward to the attention of the government. Fortunately, and I must say unfortunately, most of the officials in the agricultural sector and even the health sector were all appointees of the state. Even up to the present minister of health, Mohammed Pitt, was a director in this vaccine organization, and he appointed him Minister of Health of Nigeria. Because the WHO made it as a condition using WHO because WHO is biggest incorporated. That Nigeria, for you, we tell you the type of person you should appoint as minister who we can work. So they now appointed the minister. And they are carrying out, so the policy, what do we do with all these hospitals in Nigeria? They purchased all the government hospitals for 3.2 billion US dollars. They purchased, they offered 2 billion US dollars to the Catholic bishops to purchase all their hospitals. The Catholic bishops, of course, will tell the Catholic doctors, and the doctors tell them to go to hell. And of course, the bishops told them to go to hell. Then they came and said the Association of Private Doctors in Nigeria, all other associations of laboratory scientists, pharmacies, and all, called a meeting. The contract was given by Bill Gates to General Electric, biggest medical company in the world. They called this meeting. Unfortunately for them, I was present at that meeting, physically present. So when we went to this meeting, it was at GE headquarters in Abuja. So when we got there, they called this meeting and told us, look, we have been given a contract by General Electric to build 260 hospitals. Now, what is the idea? If you want to take eggs from women, you go to the hospital. You can do it elsewhere. But if you tell the Nigerian doctors to take these eggs, Nigerian doctors, if I take these eggs, this woman will develop ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome. That ovarian hyperstimulation syndrome will lead to kidney failure, liver failure, infections. And this woman might die in 2, 3, 4 years' time. Why should I do that? So you must eliminate the whole independent hospital. So they told us, I was sitting there. How much do you need? We'll pay you. We said, what is it? The laboratories, they said, okay, how much do you people need? The pharmacies, how much do you need? We'll pay you. We say, you must be mad. It's not a matter of money. We will not allow that. Because this is a matter of life. You tell Bill Gates you should go to hell. The executives of GE were sitting in the room. Bill Gates and probably his proxies were all in New York, and the only one woman was speaking to us on that telecom conference. But we told him, Bill Gates and GE, all of you should go. We are not going to do that. I remember living in the building. Immediately, I booked 2 central pages of song to release the information to the Nigerian public. And I did that. And it was published. Though they had to cleverly remove the names of, in order to avoid lawsuits and all those things. But they did publish it. And it kept Bill Gates away. For how long? Until Buhari left office. Because what we did, in addition, was that this story went round. The Catholic bishops went to Buhari and handed him over and told him, look, this is what is coming on this country. We don't want you to allow this law. It's called the National Health Law 2004. It allows them to take your organs, including your eggs, without consent. It is still law in Nigeria. Section 48 of that law. So when they did that, then the bishops told Buhari, I think he listened very attentively and said, I am not going to implement it. And he did it. Immediately, Bola Tinubu showed up. They all came back again. The same people. And they tried to implement that law. So, but the problem now is our whole group, very, very large group of people, both Christians, Muslims, anti-GMO groups. I think you saw about 2 groups. They are all our groups, different independent organizations. So the National Assembly, all of them, everybody went to war about this. And what happened was that the members of the National Assembly started getting it. So that was what you saw at the GMO public hearing. Some of them started understanding what the stakes were. Because we know they gave the 10th assembly, not the 10th assembly, they gave them 6.2 billion. On that day, we were having the public hearing. The person who was chairing that public hearing in 2013 was Alkebulan.
Oh.
And the main sponsor was Senator Okowa. And we were sitting there, and he was telling the whole group, over 5,000 people there, that he couldn't care less that this law, it does not mean what I was saying with other people, that it meant that we can take organs without consent and all that. I told him, I said, look, this is simple elementary 3 English. The consent clause can be waived. To operation for transplantation can be waived. What does that mean? You come into a hospital, I tell you, I will not need to tell you that I want to take your kidney, I take it. If I want to take the heart, I take it. Because the clause says consent clause can be waived. If I want to take the ovary, I take it. So this threat is still there. However, the awareness to obtain GMO, can you imagine the control biggest we have if all our food, for example, Gary, that's the starch he's talking about. He says he has put vitamin A in it. But you know what happened? If you look at that work now, it had been retracted. It was a scientific forgery by the same institute that did the work. So he's still peddling it around that it has vitamin A. It was retracted because they forged the data and published it in PLOS ONE, the American journal. So the truth of the matter is that nothing that Bill Gates and his GMO is propounding has any merit. Not his golden, because that, in fact, one bag of golden rice contains as much vitamin A as 2 small pieces of carrot. That's the comparison. So you have to eat one bag of golden rice to get the same amount of vitamin A you will get from 2 very small pieces of carrot. So you will see that the foundation or the biggest foundation just doesn't mean well at all. Now, what is our strategy going forward? Is to get control of our seeds. Seeds are life. What they did was to take all the seeds and they went to the vault in Norway and put it there. So they will have a of the original seeds to this day. That is where you hear the seed vault. Now, when they get rid of all our seeds, they will be the only one having the seeds. That seed will become an instrument for political control. They will tell us, no, we want the you will not be president. We want Tunji to be president. And there's nothing we can do. If we say no, we will not eat. That's the type of control they want. Recolonization, we call it the biological colonization of Africa. And they have appointed people across Africa from the AU down to each parliament. If you see what is happening in Kenya now, they appointed Ruto. Yeah. They wanted to do that in Nigeria here. It failed. Now they started striking a compromise with Tinubu. And Tinubu be very crafty. Put them at a distance. So they really don't control him. And they can't outmaneuver him because he's a master game player. But they supported the opposition to him before. Now, let me give you an example. One of the main person who propagates Monsanto in this country is called Rose Gidado. She is the director of the National Biosafety Development Agency.
Yeah.
Rose Gidado is married to Maxwell Gidado, son, senior advocate of Nigeria. Maxwell Gidado is the main chief attorney of Atiku. This is how that works. So if Atiku became president, you can now imagine what would have happened to the GMO. So, but you know, Tinubu being a master game player in this business of politics, outsmarted all of them. Now they're trying to strike some deals, but it's really never the same because it's a different situation. So I must say we are in trouble, but we have hope. We are fighting back. Now we are now winning. Many young people in the assembly have understood the game. That's what you're seeing with the public here. They are now understood, and the northerners have become aware that this has nothing to do with Fulanization. This has nothing to do with promotion of Islamic anything. In fact, I wrote to the National Assembly and every one of them. I said, what Muslims should be complaining about is that the victims have now been labeled the perpetrators. They are the victims because they are 85% killed, all their homes burnt, and you're telling us it's Islamic terrorism. What's Islamic? BBC, BOA, all these networks have now they just say it's Islamic terrorism, and we just accepted it like that without looking at the data. So the issue is that we all have a lot of work. We are now fighting back because some of the smart young people in the National Assembly who read are now saying, no, all your money, we will not take it. We will fight back because it's a matter of survival. We stand the chance to lose the whole of Nigeria. So I think we have a lot of work to do. Now, the quest should be saving Nigerian natural seeds and the banning of all GMO. Not even now. We should treat GMOs the same way Putin's Russia is doing. If you come in there with GMO, you are jailed. You dare not come into Russia with GMOs. If you come in with 1% contamination with GMO, the EU will not allow you. 1%. That is just by cross-pollination. And they want it here. We will not allow it. Thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, Prof. Yeah, what you've sent there is basically deep, damning, concerning. It's bad. And you've said a few things there. I've heard you say it before, but hearing you say a few more is basically, it's scary, really scary. So my first question to you is, because I know there's a delay, just bear with us. There's a delay in the feed. My first question to you is, obviously you talked about the groups going to the House of Representatives last week to talk about the GMOs. So my question to you is, how effective? Hello?
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Okay. Just bear with us, guys. There's basically there's a delay in the feed, Professor.
Okay, but I can.
Okay. So my question is,
I can hear you.
This organization,
okay.
Yeah, the organization, yeah,
yes.
I can hear you. The organizations who went to the House of Representatives last week, we had our brother Rutendo Matinyerere part of this organization, which I'll show you this. I sent a video to you, and they went to the House of Representatives to talk about the effects of GMOs. Like you said, there's a pushback going on.
Yes.
How effective do you think the pushback is going to be? Because, as you said, it's a matter of life and death. How do we counter these threats? Is the question I'm asking you.
Yes, I think we can. One, I don't know whether you read the letter I wrote to President, because I wrote, well, before that time, the letter I wrote to the Secretary, U.S. Secretary. Well, it has been proven beyond reason.
That's what I suggested. Dr. Njemanze, Oladile, give us a quick second. Please just turn off your video. Let's see how that runs. Just turn off your video and then answer Oladile's question, please. Let's keep it off so that we're not using too much bandwidth, and hopefully your audio will be clearer. Thank you.
Okay, so can you hear me now? Can you hear me better? Is it better?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can.
Good. All right. So one thing is that GMOs cause cancer. Even the WHO, before they got bought over by Bill Gates, have published that proof that GMOs cause cancer. Two, all the academies, the French Academy of Sciences, the Russian Academy of Sciences, the Argentinian Academy of Sciences, the Brazilian Academy of Sciences, they have proven beyond reasonable doubt that GMOs can cause stunted growth. They can cause what we call the celiac disease. It's the intestinal problem. They can cause infertility, because this has been demonstrated in sperm. So the truth is that the health aspect of GMOs is very, very clear. And what's even, GMOs don't increase productive of crops. If you take Europe, for example, the maize, the U.S. Department of Agriculture showed clearly, if you take Europe where there is no GMO, widespread GMO use, and then take America, you will see that the crop yield in Europe is no less than the crop yield in the United States for comparable areas of cultivation. So what does that show? It shows that we are not going to gain anything from this. Now, pest resistance, because what is happening now is that even the pests have become resistant to the glyphosate. So even if you say you are going to use GMO, it's not even going to make the better pest control. You are going to continue to increase the dose of the pesticide use, and you are now polluting underground water, and then of course causing a hazard of chemicals. So really, we don't get anything. So I think what is going on in the House of Assembly now, in the National Assembly, is that there's a lot of focus on the health hazard of this of the GMO, and using that is even enough, even without talking about the security aspects. That is even enough to make them ban GMOs, because there's no demonstration from it. So that's why I think going forward, I'm optimistic that the National Assembly will ban GMOs. And once they might put the proviso for a couple of years for us to learn the effects and all those things in experiments or whatever they call it. But I am almost sure that something in this direction will happen, because they have had their limits with these GMOs in this country.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Nduku.
So, yes, if there's any other, Europe has a strong political opposition to GMOs. Yes, I think I can read up some messages here. Yes, I'm very much aware of that. In fact, they basically banned all the food imports from Nigeria into Europe. We can't export most of the things, beans and we can't export them again, because they are finding contaminant genes. The European Agency for Agriculture is finding contaminant genes in our food products, and the rule is even if it's 1%, they will not allow it. So I think we're in.
So, Professor Njemanze, before I ask your question, I'm going to address the audience, Oladele, if you allow me, Alice Grossman Guntert. Your role as a white person, your role as a Western person is to fight on your front. So you're aware this is happening. Instead of you going to Africa with your company to tell us what to do, to advise us on what to do, you're supposed to be in your government, fighting your government and all the private organizations in your government, in your nation that are doing this. That's the front where you should be. Instead of giving us the phone number and the email. No, you should be the one who's going to send the email, who's calling to say, stop doing this to Africa. We don't want it, right? That's your front on the wall. And then we appreciate that and we cheer you on as you do that. And then we implement the solutions on our continent. We are done with white people coming to tell us what to do. Nothing against you, Alice Grossman. I'm just saying we have a history where your people can no longer be trusted when it comes to us, because you have shown that you cannot, not you personally, but white people, Western people. You come in the name of aid, and I will give context to what I'm saying, because enough is enough with tiptoeing and trying to not offend your feelings, white people. Enough is enough. You come and tell us you're giving us aid, but you're giving us poison. So, with all due respect, go to Germany. I'm guessing that's where you're from because of Guntert. Yes, Get and Fry, that's Germany. Go to Germany, work with the government there, work with the private entities that are involved with Bill Gates, fight on that front. And we appreciate that. And that is where yes, thank you for understanding. That's where we need you all, white people who feel like you want to help Black people. That's where we need you. We don't want you to tell us what we can do. We have our ways. We had our ways until your people came and took them away. So we need to get back to that. And we cannot be distracted by pausing to listen to you advising us. No. If we're going back to our ways, we cannot have you distract us. So stay on your front. We are at war, right? So we have to be disciplined. If you're white and you want to support us, Fight from your front, which is your government, right? Fight in your parliament. Fight your private entities that are coming to Africa. That's where we need you. And then we can see it through the evidence of the changes. We will see. You don't even need to tell us. We don't need to clap for you. In fact, we shouldn't clap for you because that is reparations. Just do it because you're doing it for humanity. And then we Black people must stop looking to them for solutions and look within ourselves. Dr. Njemanze, and I shared this movie, and everything seems disconnected. And I keep saying this when I'm in Kenyan spaces. Everything is connected. It's not disconnected. Dr. Njemanze started by saying to us in 2005, there was a meeting of G7 countries, nations, right? You all want to talk about politics with billionaires. So they are together. Their interests are aligned. Each one is lining each other's pockets, so they're not separated. This movie, Dr. Njemanze, I'll get to my question. Death of a Whistleblower kind of talks about what Dr. Njemanze is talking about. And it goes back again to what we have talked about, The Economic Hitman, the book by John Perkins. And you all, it is your duty. It is no longer a request from the Imagine Alkebulan. It is no longer a request from Kumbukeni that you go and subscribe and you watch our videos. You must watch our videos if you are a Mwana Ubuntu. Why? Because our videos are telling you what is happening, what threats we are facing, and what solutions we should take. So it is your duty to watch the videos that we're doing, not just us, anyone else like us who's telling you what's happening. It is your duty every time you see an African aligned, African grounded channel for you to subscribe, follow, and watch. Before you watch CNN, before you watch MSNBC, before you watch KTN, before you watch whatever other nonsense is out there, you must watch Kumbukeni, you must watch the Imagine Alkebulan, you must watch Kimbunga, you must watch the Black Power, everything that is telling you the truth. That is where you're going to be, so that you can start understanding what is happening, so that you can start awakening, so that you can start taking action. This is what you must do. This is no longer a game of, oh, please subscribe, please like, please share. No. This is, you've gone to the doctor has diagnosed you and said to you, this is the medicine or you die. Simple as that, because that is literally what's happening. So Death of a Whistleblower. The movie is somewhat fictional, but not really, as every other movie. This is a human being who has subconsciously, consciously experienced life, but they're telling us what is happening. And in the movie, it is revealed, and I am going to tell this, I'm not worried about spoilers. I'm worried about us awakening, and I'm worrying about warning us, right? Not every one of us will be able to afford watching the movie. So if I spoil it for you, get over it, go watch it still. They're planting these diseases in blankets that they're giving as aid. They're planting these diseases in tins that they're giving as aid, in containers that they're giving as aids. Whole villages, whole nations are being wiped out, right? Okay, it might be conspiracy. There's that person who just heard what I said and reacted, this is conspiracy. Nduko just likes to talk about. No, John Perkins in The Economic Hitman tells us this happened in South America. An organization that was a front as a, and here comes the Christians, as a religious entity, was the one doing this work for the CIA. So they would come as the religious entity pretending to be helping the South Americans, and they would give them these goods that have disease planted in them. And then the whole village, people are throwing up, they have diarrhea and all that. Yeah, and they did it with the Native Americans in the United States. Like, there's evidence everywhere, but you all want to believe them before you believe us. So this is my question, Dr. Njemanze. I understand that, you know what, I'm not going to ask you this question. Let me make the statement and then I'll ask a question. This is going to be more about me making statements, Oladile, based on what Dr. Njemanze said than me asking questions, because he cannot, I'm not going to put him in a place to answer the questions that I'm asking, because he will put himself at risk. So I will just make them statements. Beyond educating ourselves, beyond us educating others about what's happening, we have to understand that the fight is different. These are our lives. Dr. Njemanze told us that there's a law. And as he was talking about the law, I remembered the law in Kenya where the Bill Gates Foundation is getting immunity. And I shared a couple of links. The Kenyan High Court is fighting it, but we know that Kenyan court system has gone to the hell, right? It's compromised. So they do this looking like they're going to do something, but they're not really doing something. When your life is at threat, what do? I'm just going to say it that way. You fill in the blanks. When your life is at threat, if I am being attacked right now by someone and I can save my life, what do? Do I worry about that person's feelings? Do I worry about taking that person's life so that they don't take mine? Do you? If you're trying to save your life, are those things that you worry about? What is this person's feelings? Am I going to hurt their feelings? Can I take this person's life? The Bible says, oh, I'll go to jail. Do you stop to think about that when someone is holding a knife to your throat, has a gun on your head? If you have a chance, is that what you're thinking about? That's all I'll say as far as that. So they're harvesting organs, and they have a law that is saying they have waived the consent requirement. So you're going to the hospitals in Africa, think you're going to be treated, but they can take your organs without permission, and it's okay. Because guess what? In Kenya, there's a law that has they're immune to any legal action. So it's okay. They cannot, you cannot sue them in Kenya. In your own country, you cannot sue them because there's a law that has given immunity to them. So this is what we're talking about. And I have several former schoolmates, high school schoolmates, who are now fellows of the Bill Gates Foundation. This is another duty to all of you, Ubuntu Africans. You are no longer allowed to be a fellow of the Bill Gates Foundation. If you are a fellow of the Bill Gates Foundation, you're a betrayer to your people. You are literally walking your people to the slaughter gate. It is as simple as that. I am no longer walking on eggshells telling you what time it is. This is what's happening. You as a Ubuntu must, these are the solutions, must stop being a fellow of the Bill Gates organization. The Bill Gates organization is a terrorist organization based on what we just had and based on what we are seeing them do. They are killing African lives. They are infecting African people. They are bringing disease to our nation, and they are creating food insecurity. So, Dr. Njemanze, a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please talk about what you're doing as far as creating awareness and how can we help as far as that front, because that is what you can do right now. What are you doing to create our awareness and how can we help?
Yeah, actually, we are reaching out at all levels of governance, because what they do is they plant the Nigerians themselves whole network and present it as if it's harmless. So what we are doing is to educate people around, because people are not aware of this. I can tell you, for example, that the Muslim leadership, the entire Muslim leadership in this country, didn't know what the statistics was. They had no idea how many Muslims were dying compared to Christians and every other person. They knew that people were dying, but they didn't know. So what we are doing is briefing them, and we do small talks like this. We send them messages. We talk on social media in order to create awareness. The church has been very, very useful in doing that. Also helping us at the very hierarchy of the church. They have been very, very helpful. But the Islamic organizations have been very, very helpful, very much so. So I think we are still doing one-on-one information. Now, how can you help? Organizations like yours do one big missing work, sponsoring individual families in one way or the other to preserve their seeds, the natural. We do not have this access. Neither do we have the means to do it. But I believe an organization like yours can actually have real volunteers who maybe you pay or give some assistance, who find out the farmers who use natural seed preservation systems. They are the farmers of the farmers. So let's say, for example, I'm quite sure if you give a grant of $1,000 to a farmer, for example, or $500 to a farmer to improve his seed preservation technique, his local way. If he now has excess that he wants to sell, of course, he can do much better work. Because even when we were talking about the silos, can you imagine you store your seeds in a big silo and these terrorists come and attack it? They can't. They know where they are, so they can come and attack them and blow up everything. So it is possible. So if you have a distributed network of these farmers, and make sure that those people don't have cell phones. I removed one part of this presentation, not willingly, to the extent to kill all Nigerian doctors. Did you know that the biggest people planned that? And how did we stop it? We just exposed it in the press. We just told everybody, this is what they planned. How did we know that they planned that? They issued a circular saying that the Global Fund wants to sponsor these doctors, the doctors in Nigeria, that they have to provide their biometrics, telephone number, all the workers in their hospitals, their telephone numbers and everything. And we have proof of that. And they circulated this memo. Oh, we said, okay, if they have number, they will track you by GPS. If they have that of your workers, they can track them by GPS and kill everybody. And they so planned it, and they carried out a test run of this in Benue State. So these people are not joking. Because let me tell you what is at stake for them. 30 trillion US dollars. 30 trillion. I didn't say billion. 30 trillion. That's 1/3 of world economy. That's how much you can realize from clothing in the space of 5 years. So this is why they are bent on doing this, if it means wiping out the whole world. Now, let me digress just a little bit, just to know what is happening also in Europe, because you were talking about Europe. Do you know why they opened Europe to migration? Because they wanted to get the organs of
we know.
young Africans. Oh, good. Do you know why the Ukraine war is going on? Do you know why the Ukraine war is going on? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
The Ukraine war is going on because Ukraine has become the largest supplier of organs to Western Europe. From the young people who are dying in Ukraine, they are collecting their organs for transplantology. That's not. So they want the same thing to happen in Africa, to close the gap of organ shortage before they implement cloning. This is where they're going. And the only way we can stop them is to remove the instrumentality of the law, which is National Health Act 2014. There are writing variants of this law. This law is only present today, operational in Nigeria and Ukraine. Because in Ukraine, there is an equivalent law that says you can collect organs without consent. And then the other in the world is Nigeria. These two countries. So you can also help in this regard, because what you are doing is a fantastic job. Don't ever underestimate what we are doing, because knowledge is power. So if we spread the information on the called National Health Act 2014. And tell it's written in black and white. You can go Google it, section 40. You will see it. The consent clause can be waived. If they say emergency. In emergency, in medicine, what we do is emergency. Nobody comes to the hospital feeling in leisure. You're having severe headache, it's an emergency. You're having a pain, it's an emergency. So under the auspices of emergency, any organ can be taken. Mind you that operation, the person whose organ is being taken, may not even be rich, because he has to be healthy for the house to be of value to the next person. So, with you, we really need awareness. That's above all. I think that's what the African. I'm sorry to say, I don't want to sound insulting all of us Africans. Unfortunately for us, we have this naivety about what the outsider wants to do to us. We give them the benefit of doubt. Oh no, they can't be wanting to do this. But you're making a very big mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Prof. Yeah. You know what? I'm just gonna peddle off. I'm just gonna peddle off what Professor said there and peddle off what Nduku said. We are doing this not for the sake of doing this or hearing our own voices, but there is a threat, a serious threat to Africa and Africans wherever we are. Yeah. As you can see, a lot of us actually know history, and if you choose to be ignorant, that's up to you. But you know history and know how the Caucasians came to Africa. You know how they got there. You know what they've done to us over the years. So the people who went to that length to create those atrocities against us, do you think they have your good intentions at heart? Question, you don't have to answer that. Your education, they gave it to you. They educated you, so you think like them. They took away your spiritual connection. They gave you their religions. So they're basically taking you away from yourself. There's so many things that's been done over the years that's got us to where we are today. Now we're talking about the threat of our food. Guys, those of you who follow me on LinkedIn, you see I post these things all the time. I'm not posting it for the sake of posting it. What we're trying to do is make you aware, awaken you to the fact that there's an essential threat to Africans wherever we are. Our way of life is completely being threatened. And like Dr. Njemanze just said, the way these people get to us is our own people. We're so sold out that we want to be part of these. We want the trinkets and mirrors. We just want to be part of these people that would do anything to be. And this is where we are. So the threat of our food security is deep and very, as the professor was talking, I was just shaking my head in terms of the things he was saying. So we are doing these things for you guys to basically know that we have no friends of these people. It's them against us. We need to draw a line. You need to see them for who they are and stop believing that there is an iota of, they don't give a, don't let me swear online. They don't care. They don't really care. Some of you will be listening to this right now thinking, what is he saying? What is he saying? White people do not care about you. Most especially from African brothers and sisters. Some of you want to be like them. You aspire, you go through their education, you get the degrees to be like them. All it does is take you away from who you are. This is a very, very big threat. And guys, like Dr. Njemanze said, if we lose our food security, we've lost everything. That's the only thing we got left, our food. Our food connects us to nature. Now you've got genetically modified organisms in your food, which basically takes you away from nature. It's genetically modified. There's no health benefits to what you're eating. So what's left? And some of you are so quick to want to just have anything Western. Everything Western, it's killing. They basically moved away from nature. That's all they've done. They don't want anything to do with nature. They don't want to know. They don't want, all they do is destroy. They find problems to find solutions. That's all they do. Anyway, I had to say that because basically we need to wake up.
I'm glad you said that, because that takes me to the other point. And Dr. Njemanze, we're going to see what we're going to do. We'll stay on after we go off live. Please stay on for a few minutes, because we can talk about how we can get a recording of you that is clear, saying exactly, if you can remember exactly what you said, but at least pointing out the main points.
We're going to do that. I think
so
I've
that
got
we
one,
can
but we
put
can do
it.
another one.
Yeah, so that we can put it, but I will talk after the live, when we go off live, so that we can give it to our people. But we currently have we are in a state of being where war has been made a profit-making practice. So I am a business person. I sell clothes. If I want you all to buy my clothes, I will make sure that there's a need for those clothes. To whichever extent my powers can go, I'll make sure that there's a need for those clothes. And if there's no need, I'll make sure that you see a need for those clothes, right? Marketing, simply. That's what that marketing is, what that. If there's no need, I will create the need. I will make you see why you should buy my product. All right? Bongi Ubuntu, Imagine Alkebulan, we're going to be doing a lot of things that we believe you should be involved in. And we're going to be telling you why you should be involved in them. The good thing is we have your best interest at heart, Wana Ubuntu. And by default, Wazungu, because if we're not out here behaving like your ancestors have behaved and like your current brothers and sisters are behaving, where your mission is to take life for the sake of profit, right? Because you clearly do not care about yourselves. The many of you who are under the knife trying to look like fish and whatever else other thing, thinking it's a beauty standard, after you have denigrated us for years for our big lips, all of a sudden you want to look like us. So clearly you don't care about yourselves. So, but we got you. Because when we get us, we will have gotten you. So you're good. And it's actually to the best interest of white people to make sure that Black people get in control of humanity. Because then at least we are operating under Ubuntu. We're not operating like, your folks. But besides the point, if war has been made a profit-making practice, then the people who make profit from war are going to create war. Like Dr. Njemanze said, like John Perkins has said in his book, they create instability. They create tension between one tribe and the other. And all they need is someone who looks like you, who they pay, and that person is going to act as if they've lost their minds. And again, watch that movie. And watch that movie going to learn beyond movie, right? Beyond film, beyond going for a date. Go there to learn and see what is unsaid that has been said. Right? For those of you in the New York area, it's going to be showing in New York. I shared the link. I shared the location on Friday. Go watch. I want to hear and we will have the director on Kumbukeni. Oladile, if you want to do this with me next week, we can do it together. We'll have the director on, and we can talk about your schedule and everything. But we'll have the director on Sunday, so that we can talk about the movie. For awareness, for you all to learn about the movie and where you can watch it. Because beyond the movie, beyond the director benefiting from the sales of the movie, I want you to see what is happening. Because what is said in the movie is what has been said in the Economic Hitman. It is what that is happening in Kenya. There have been several Kenyans posting on Twitter, people being disappeared, organs are being taken. That literally what Dr. Njemanze is saying, right? We've been having femicide, and it all seems like the Kenyan men are killing Kenyan women. But Dr. Njemanze told us that they need to harvest eggs from women. And Bill Gates is in Kenya and he's getting immunity. So this is no longer about conspiracy. This is you asking yourselves, I wonder if these things are connected. I wonder if these things are connected. And it is more nefarious than it seems that some of our men are being paid to kill the women so that these people can harvest. Because a lot of these people you don't find. A lot of these people, things have been done to their bodies. So let's start thinking beyond what we are seeing and thinking deeper and asking deeper questions. I will say this, and yes, I will say it on a public platform. The only way we can educate, we will educate, we are educating. We can build seed banks, we will build seed banks. We are building seed banks. But if we're building seed banks, if we are building Tulsa, right, Black Wall Street in Tulsa, and we are under the threat of being blown apart, them dropping bombs on the seed bank that we have built, what only stance are we left to take against them? We have to blow them up too. We have to take them out too, because this is the risk we are facing. If they are sending militia to come and attack our seed banks, we have to take them out too. That's the only way. They're not talking to us. So we have to start thinking, how are we going to position ourselves, Africans, so that we can take them out too, so that they learn that they cannot mess with us anymore. I'm sorry. You all want to talk about this behind closed rooms as if there are no satellites finding out what you're saying behind closed rooms, as if they haven't paid Juma 100 Kenya shillings to tell them what you said in the closed room. Go ahead. But I could say it here so that it can reach more people. We need to take a war stance. They are our enemies. Who's their other enemy? How can we collaborate with that enemy so that we can get the task that we need handled today handled? And then we can tell them, okay, goodbye, thank you so much for helping, but now we got it. This is where we need to be. I'm sorry. Oladile, I am sorry. Like, we keep walking on eggshells. What can we do? Solutions. We have to take them out before they take us out. Dr. Njemanze.
Sorry, I think I muted him. Give me a second. Yeah, go on, Doctor.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I just wanted to say that I actually brought out the part that is less, I would say, less scary. I would just mention it, that even more is the fact they are breeding mosquitoes, which have been programmed that the saliva of that mosquito,
we know about that,
has oh good. So when it bites you, the saliva will inject into your body and it will make you infertile.
Wow.
It's a special gene. And they are growing this in billions and releasing it. They've released the first one, first batch in Burkina Faso. So when they release it in the environment, they are talking about taking out malaria, but that's not the aim. That's not the aim. That sterility gene is in the saliva. So that
Dr. Njemanze, sorry to interrupt you. As we fight through the technical issues. So there's a mosquito that has been created, and we know this is true. This is not fiction. We know that this mosquito is there, right? Bill Gates Foundation again, that is biting you, and the saliva has enzymes that are destroying your fertility, right? So you find out through your research, because we're all going to do research, where the labs are. Your solution, Africans, instead of asking us, Ubuntu, what the solution is to blow up those labs. That is the only solution. I'm sorry. This is the only solution. Those labs need to go down. The scientists in them can go down with them for all I care, or up in flames. This is what they're doing to us. Those labs need to be burned to the ground. That is the only solution. I am sorry. You can go to the UN, talk about going to the UN. That is not a solution. Because while you're going to the UN, where you'll get no results, your people are still being made infertile, your populations are going down, and these people can come and take over. The only solution, again, is to take them out. Dr. Njemanze, go on. I feel like I should just keep saying, take them out all throughout the whole session until we get to 1:30 and we walk away. Take them out because they're taking you out before they take you out.
Yes, the truth of the matter is that if they release, they plan even to Nigeria, this GM. So if they do that, that's why they are saying they're bringing the malaria vaccine. Now, let me also mention this part. The malaria vaccine they are releasing in Nigeria will make cerebral cerebral meningitis 10 times more frequent. 10 times more frequent. It will increase the malaria incidence in female. In female patients by almost 15 times. So I had to write a letter to the National Assembly telling them this is the statistics. This is, and showed them the citation of them. Now, what they did was to defer the release at the trial in 2 states. But it is still coming. It's going to come. They want to release the GMO mosquito. They want to release this vaccine so that we will have a very, very high death rate from cerebral meningitis. And where is the cerebral meningitis going to happen? In northern Nigeria. So I think also people of Muslim faith who are listening with us must understand that yes, everybody faces the threat, but the threat Muslims face is disproportionately very high. And I think Muslims organizations must be at the forefront of this fight to make the biggest difference, because most of the voters of the people in the National Assembly are who? Muslims. So if they decide, if the Muslim caucus decides that we're going to end GMOs today, all this nonsense from Bill Gates, we can achieve it. So, but it is now for the Muslim intellectuals to pick up this fight and join us in order to win this, because we really need them. They have the numbers that will make a very quick difference at the National Assembly.
Sorry, I'm multitasking here. I'm speaking to my co-host while I speak, because we need therapy in many ways. So this thing of the vaccine being given to children, there's a Kenyan who spoke and said that his child came home and said they were given a shot in school. The parents were not told about it. The school just gave them shots, vaccines, and the parents were not told about it. And they can do that. Why? Because there's a law in Kenya that Ruto, who doesn't give a shit about Kenyans, only gives a shit about himself. And yes, I am using very colorful language for which is called for, given the situation, because he doesn't give a shit about us. He has put a law that makes these people immune to any legal action. So they will do this because when you go and look into the school, yes, you can fight the school. The Kenyan school doesn't have enough funds to compensate you or to do anything significant, or no one cares about them in the grand scheme of things, right? But you find out that apparently it is tied to the Bill Gates Foundation, and you hit that wall. There's a policy in Kenya that protects them from you taking legal action. This is what's happening, and you cannot do anything about it. So again, we must take them out before they take us out. I'm not even going to talk about anything else as far as solutions. That's the solution. We must take them out before they take us out. How we take them out is what we need to figure out. But they must be taken out. I am not wearing a suit or wearing any African garb to go sit at the table with them and reason. I'm not doing that. We're taking them out before they take us out. Oladele.
Yeah, just listen to this. Basically, it's been eye-opening. Even though I've heard it before, I'm hearing it again. And Professor, we need to create awareness. You said that. We need to create awareness.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, we need to create some kind of awareness, and we're doing that right now. So, apart from the awareness, what else do you think we can do? What else can we do?
Let me just say this. What about the Bill Gates Foundation? Is that they are very fast fast reactive. And
Yeah.
let me just give a real life example. I talked about this, I wrote about this to the Senate president, and it was put in the Nigerian newspapers and everywhere else. It took 2 weeks. Bill Gates was in Nigeria, because I even said Bill Gates should be arrested. If we find him, we will arrest him, and we were planning to do that. We'll embarrass him with the magistrate issued an order, and we go. I said, look, we want to arrest this man. What he now did was 2 weeks later, he was in this and made sure that he gathered a lot of heroes, the ones that work with him. But Tinubu, in his very clever way, just quietly sneaked out of the country, and he was in somewhere in China, so he didn't meet him. But he was still, he came and then met with the government and all that. So they are very, very, very sensitive. So that's why the biggest weapon you have is awareness. That's the biggest. The second thing is to empower the small person who really does the work. That small person.
I agree.
That small church. That small. Those people who do the work among the people who are closest to the people in the field, the people who are actually farmers, those people that are closest, the churches that are in those communities, because they go there, deceive the people that they have come to give them seats that will help them. They'll talk to the local bishop or local people there, and then they start spreading it. So if you can get a ground-based people who are closest to the farmers, it will work. We sometimes underestimate our people on the side that, oh, they are not educated. I mean, they are not educated in Africa means they don't speak English. But they are simple than people like me.
Yep. Tell me about it.
Intelligence.
Yep. Yes.
So you say because somebody doesn't speak English, he's not educated. That makes no sense. So our people who are very knowledgeable, and so what we need is to get these people who can communicate at the ground-based level and empower them. And for little, they will do much value work. How to get that is okay. That's how the church is penetrated. The place they use these propagandists that are at the local level, and these propagandists started acting, working. Don't really, maybe they're not the religious people, but they work for them because they know how to pass on the information. So I think we have to develop such a ground-based strategy. If you know, and it will vary from one community to the other.
Thank you, Prof. I'm just going to add on what Professor said there, and we, with Unduku and myself, we are trying to find solutions in terms of the way forward. The things that we're doing that, like one of our speakers said, we can't share everything we're doing online. But what is important is when we need the help, people they never come forward. We're so distracted in being part of all the other things that makes no sense. But when it comes to work that needs to be done, because there's work that needs to be done, and we cannot do this work by ourselves. We need people who are going to reach out to us, who are willing, and we need finance. We need all sorts of things to actually make this work happen. And this is basically where we Africans never unite to do things together, because we're thinking individual glory. We never think about the collective power, the unity, because that goes a long way. And this is what Ubuntu is all about. Ubuntu is about collective empowerment, working together, because the war, as Pat described, as Professor Njemanze told us, this is survival for us. It is survival. And the only way we can do this is for us to get together one way or the other, through grassroots, through networks, through whatever, to find ways to actually infiltrate the system because the systems are so compromised. These guys have been at this for the last 60, 80, 100 years. They've basically got to, it's a psychological thing that most white black people think a white person is their friend in 2024. They still think that way. The Labour leader, the Conservative leader, what's her name? Who's the Nigerian? She thinks that way. She's thinking that way. So we got people who have become coconuts.
You're talking about the UK coconut? Actually,
Yeah,
she's not even a coconut. She's we need to find a new one for her because she's a special case. So, that one.
We're talking about coconuts. It doesn't matter how you dress yourself. It doesn't matter how much you speak the language. It doesn't matter even if you have the passports. You are still African, and they see you as African, and they merely tolerate you. That's all they do. So we need to pull ourselves together to actually think collectively, how can we beat Africa? Because if Africa is strong and all the rubbish that we get in, we can push it back. But as long as people keep being pawns and being used, pawns in the game, because they're using us to get to us. Like Njemanze said, basically, Bill Gates has people in all positions. During COVID, I knew there was the person who was in charge of the COVID vaccines implementation. Eventually got a job in WHO. I found that out. So I kind of knew that all these people are basically compromised. You see them talking about health policies, but the health policies that you see are not coming from us. It's not coming from the Nigerian government. It's coming from abroad. So nothing they're doing is actually working for us. So guys, we're not talking for the sake of talking. And sometimes we can be passionate. We could be angry. But all we're looking for is solutions. And the only way is for us to work together. Stop seeing these people as your friends. They are not your friends. No matter how much you want to dress it up, no matter how much degrees or DDDs you get, all you're doing is putting their mentality in your head. That's all you're doing. Your African indigenous knowledge is not there. We need to develop our own systems. We need to develop our own systems, guys. Anyway, I'm just going to leave my rant there. It's not a rant, but I'm making that point there. Because we need this opportunity to actually get to people understand that we're at war. It's survival for us, guys. We're at war.
And before I do my quick 1 minute rant, and we can ask Dr. Njemanze the question, Oladile, I'm just going to say, for those of you who keep saying, because we come in spaces, I talk the way I talk, and then someone comes to speak after me, and they're like, Nduku wants it to happen now. She's frustrated. I don't know why you're not frustrated. I don't know why you don't want it to happen now. That's the issue here. Why you don't see the urgency in our liberation, why you don't see the urgency in removing this enemy from our home is the question, right? If I have cockroaches, if I have bed bugs in my house, I understand the discomfort of having those pests in my house. I will immediately get a solution. Immediately. I will not sit and say, oh, these things take time. You know, it takes time to get rid of cockroaches. Let's take our time. Why don't we sit and talk about the harms of cockroaches and how cockroaches are born, right? When I make it that, when I give you that analogy that is so ridiculous, you're supposed to see how ridiculous you're all sounding, right? That is the goal, to make you see how ridiculous you're all sounding. Follow Kumbukeni, subscribe, watch the videos, especially the ones on GMO, because to me, we believe, in fact, actually, I know my brother does believe, because we're working together, that the food security is the most important thing right now.
I agree.
So
100%.
Follow both the Imagine Alkebulan, follow Kumbukeni, follow all other. I make it a point today. If someone shares with me an African channel, before I even watch the video, subscribe. It doesn't take much. It is not filling your bandwidth. It is not taking money from you. I mean, you might get cookies that get you videos like that, but that's a good thing, because then you get African channels more that are telling you that. That's a good thing for you, Mona Ubuntu. So like I said, it is no longer a request. It is a duty that you support these media outlets. It is no longer a request. It is a duty that you stop working with the Bill Gates Foundation as a Mona Ubuntu. Otherwise, you're an enemy. When we do get the means to blow up that lab and you're inside, you're going up with it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Oladile, and they will call me a criminal because I'm saying this, but this is what we're doing. I just want you all, my brothers and sisters, to realize when they call me a terrorist, I'm not a terrorist. I'm fighting for us. So If Bill Gates' lab in Nairobi, I know, is breeding mosquitoes that are infecting us and destroying our fertility, and I find a way to blow it up, I am blowing it up. So if you're a Kenyan who works there, you have time to get out until I find a way of doing so. Dr. Njemanze, your last words.
Oh yeah, before you go, Prof. Sorry, hold on. Let me just move him. What I want, Prof. Your last words, please. Before I ask you a question, I got a question for you. But what's your last words on this topic, sir?
Yeah, I just came across something on the platform when I was talking about Burkina Faso. That was before the coup. If actually that this problem of the mosquito release that provoked the soldiers at the lower level to take over the government. This was what, because the prime minister received $40 million. The former prime minister received 40 gates and funneled it to the Wife's Home Foundation, and then permitted them to release all these things in Burkina Faso. And the army now was not happy with it. Then that was why they did the coup. And then, of course, Tuare now has started reversing all that. So that's what I wanted to clarify there.
Okay, thank you for that.
Thank you for that clarification, Dr. Njemanze.
Other things of what we want to do. Yes, on the other things we want to do, I must say, and that's see, it is impossible. Let me just say this because I know many Africans don't know this.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
What I want to say now, I know that many Africans don't know this, what I'm going to say right now. Now, the oldest people on earth, that is as Igbo, 150,000 to 240,000 years, Igbo people of Nigeria. The second oldest people on earth are the Southern Sudanese, 100,000 to 150,000 years. That's the L2 gene. Igbos are L1 gene. And then 70,000 to 100,000 years are L3 gene. You can still see some L1 gene among the Yorubas, especially those in Ekiti area. Okay, the one is only 6,000 to 7,000 years. The white man contributed nothing. I mean, nothing to civilization. I'm telling you, as a scientist, and I know exactly. The whole Egyptian civilization was an Igbo civilization. We have the documents to prove it. The white man cannot be a Jew. The Jews have L1 gene. They were the first of this. So the whole black issue of the Jews were related to the Igbo history. The white man just started yesterday. They have only been in power for about 500 years. Before that time, all the European empires were black. So the truth of the matter is, we know this genetics. The slave trade that they are talking about was something started 300 years ago in order to retaliate. What? Because they were the slaves. That's why they are called Slavs. Slav is Osaele Evu. That means people who are watchmen and people who are servants. No white man contributed anything to the technologies of today. Do you know when they looted it? 1799, in the expedition led by Napoleon Bonaparte, and he went with 5,000 technicians to Egypt to carry this computer, television, airplane, everything you have in Western civilization today was looted. It was reverse engineered. And I have a whole series of books, Igbo Mediators of Yahweh Culture of Life, that detail this so you can see the whole technology. They are all big volume books like that. If you can see it, I don't know whether you can see me. No, you can't see me. So they are all big 500-page books, and I put all the books there. So please, this inferiority. Hello, can you hear me?
Do you want to bring
this inferiority?
Do you want to bring your video back on?
Okay, let me bring the video back on. At least I can show you what it looks like. Okay, see.
Yeah.
This is the figures. Okay, you want me data of your record. This is the Exodus volume that shows you the whole. Oh, sorry. This is the Exodus
we can't
that shows
see
you the whole Exodus, how it happened from one stage to the other, all the documents. Yes. This tells you, do you know where Jerusalem is? Jerusalem is right here in this city of Warren. I show you the underground, all the archaeology of it. It's all here. It's called the Temple of Solomon and the Wailing Wall. They translocated everything in the past 500 years and told you Night Israel is now the Israel of the Jews. It's a lie. It's a very big lie. I show you sites and all that. The whole technologies I was talking about, they are all here. I show you all this here. Aircraft systems, submarine planes, and all that. 1000 BC. All these ones are the modern ones. They are just engineered from here when they looked at it from Egypt.
We definitely need to have we need to figure out how we're going to get to you.
The white man
We definitely need to figure out how we're going to get to you, Dr. Njemanze, so that we can do a clear recording
all these
where people can hear. Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yes. Yes. We thank you.
So
Be safe. Be safe. Yes, the white man is telling a lie, and we must take them out before they take us out, because they are taking us out. The evidence has been laid clear for you all to see.
Big lie. Just telling a lie, and I tell them to their face because their intellectuals know what I'm telling you is the truth.
Yes, Dr. Njemanze, we are now at 1 hour 42 minutes.
Okay, good.
See, we
see,
we didn't even hear that.
What the book you can read.
But the point, on a lighter note, the point being, our ears have been very patient for 1 hour 42 minutes, Dr. Njemanze. So let's close so that we can digest whatever we got. Those of us who have good hearing, those of us who don't have as good hearing, we all heard what we heard, and we can. And by the way, we can continue the conversation in the comments of the recording. Good. We can continue the conversation in the Alkebulan Telegram group. We can continue the conversation in the Kumbukeni Telegram group. Just because you go to Alkebulan does not mean that you're taking away from Kumbukeni. We have the same goal, so you're contributing to that goal.
We are the same, guys. We have the
same goal, our liberation. So whichever way you support. If you're supporting Kimbunga but supporting towards this goal, we're good. If you're supporting Black Power Media but supporting towards this goal, we're good. It doesn't matter who it is, as long as this is the goal that they have, our liberation and taking out the threats that are standing in the way of that. Dr. Njemanze, asante sana.
Thank you very much, Prof. We've had a lot.
The question. Don't forget the question.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Dr. Njemanze. Just one question for you before you go. One question. What would you do if you knew that you would never fail?
I would blow up all the labs from Bill Gates and their whole office. I would blow up all the white people who are bringing hell to us.
Yeah. What would you do? What would you do if you knew that you would not fail?
Well, you see, you're asking a very challenging question from the spiritual point of view. If I know I will never fail, I'll keep on fighting. Yes. So
I like that.
If I know I will never fail, all the enemies of
I
what
will
I
never
would
fail.
do. Count your hours.
I love that. I love that. Anyway, I'm gonna reach out to you for a question for our next guest. Anyway, because of the audio, so we're just gonna cut it now. Okay, guys.
They're asking how to get to the Telegram. Just go comment on the recording, and we'll take you through it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll send you links to the Telegram group. We've got a video that Dr. Njemanze actually did before. So I'm gonna link, we'll put it there. Dr. Njemanze, thank you for your time. Guys, we're gonna be back in 2 weeks' time.
Hold on, let me give them our email, and then I can give them both yours and mine. Yeah.
Okay.
So kumbukeni1@gmail.com. Send me an email. Just say on the subject, join Telegram account, and then in the body, please help or please assist.
Thank you.
And we'll send you.
Okay, Dr. Maya, thank you for your time. Thank you for everybody that listened to this today. Dr. Maya, don't go yet. We're gonna talk behind the scenes. For everybody, thank you very much for watching this. This has been very informative. It's been eye-opening. If you think we have enemies, no, we haven't got enemies. We are our own solutions. I say this all the time. We, Black people, Alkebulans, need to get together and find the solutions that deals with our own peculiar challenges. And the challenge we have is not created by us. It's what they created.
But condoned by us.
Condoned by us because we just want to be accepted and acknowledged by them. Anyway, in 2 weeks' time, we'll see you. And that's going to be the final one from our Alkebulan Awakening series. And we are going to, I'll tell you the topic. The topic is, there's only one race. There's only one race. There is only one race. That's a topic. And we're going to bring on Jane Elliott. She's an 81-year-old woman. She's going to be talking about there's only one race. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you.
And guess what Jane Elliott has been doing? She's been fighting it on her front, telling white people what to do.